But yeah, this is a live working surf shop. There's people literally, and it's a public holiday. There's people buying surfboards behind us.
And the waves are good. So
And the waves
I've
are
never
good.
seen it so busy in these different shops today. Yeah.
You have just come back from a surf.
Yeah.
So like she's fully frothed, Michelle. I didn't get to surf this morning. I'm a little bit jelly.
I wasn't smiling like this before the surf, let me tell you.
So here we are. Firstly, I just want to kick off by saying welcome to Michele Macfarlane. Thank you very much, Michelle, for joining me here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely. I've also just, before we carry on, I've just got to say a massive thanks to Lifestyle Surf Shop here on Muizenberg Corner, the iconic Muizenberg Surfers Corner here in Cape Town. If you need your boards, your wetsuits, this is a place to come at Lifestyle. I've also got to say massive thanks to my other sponsors, Seasick Threads, best board bags out of Australia, as well as my associates over at Wavescape who support this podcast, Shredding the Gnar. So welcome to Shredding the Gnar, Michele Macfarlane.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on the show. I'm very excited to be here.
Very excited to have you here. Wow, it's been a whirlwind few days for us with the Wavescape Festival in full swing, and we were honored enough to have you talk at the annual slide night. It was super cool getting to hear your journey and how you've competed for South Africa. But I think before we get into that, so for the benefit of our audience and everybody watching and listening to this show, let's wind it back. I know you've got a great love for the ocean and for surfing, but tell us what sparked all that off. And yes, let's go right back to where Michelle first fell in love with the ocean.
So I actually first fell in love with the ocean when I was a young child. So we always lived by the coast. And then when I was 13 years old, we moved to the UK.
Right.
And probably as far away as you can get from the ocean in the UK, sort of Midlands area. And yeah, I just lost that for many, 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 many years. So I came back here when my kids were very young. When I was in my sort of mid-30s, I came back to South Africa with my then husband and my kids. And I still didn't have a chance to enjoy the ocean because then, you're watching your children.
Yes.
Making sure they don't drown.
Yes.
And it was recently that I rediscovered it, literally just before lockdown.
Okay.
So my youngest child, the one that you saw now, she started surfing, and I just found myself watching her and just feeling so jealous because I just felt that there was no way. I felt that I'd lost that chance to surf because of my blindness. And, the one time I tried bodyboarding, I'd never surfed before. I just went straight into a bather because I just did not see them in front of me. So I just felt it was too dangerous. But I did decide to, on a whim, just Google surfing Cape Town disability, those 3 words.
Wow.
I just put those in and I was astonished that the Roxy Davis Foundation came up. And that's when I fell in love again and rekindled a whole new love for the ocean and surfing. And it just changed my life. And
That's amazing.
yeah.
So you said something in one of those sentences. For those of you that don't know this, but Michelle is actually blind and her handle is down below. So please show her some love and support on her Instagram. And it's quite incredible. And to have, that reconnection with the ocean after being away for so long.
Sure, it was.
I also spent quite a long time in Europe, and
Yeah.
I know the challenges, even though the coastline is relatively close in whichever
Yeah.
direction when you're in Europe, it's not quite the same as home, right? And it's you kind of I almost didn't look forward to getting into like really, really, really cold water as opposed to like Museys, where it's a few degrees warmer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, Muizenberg, today it was a little bit chilly, but not too bad.
Yes.
In England, it's really cold. I
It
mean,
is.
we've got my little bestie Jade is from Scotland, and they're a hardy lot up there. They're the Scottish surf team.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're pretty tough because it's not only cold in the water, it's cold when you get out.
Exactly. And they get
Yeah.
some pretty good surf up on the west coast of Scotland, right?
Yeah, and I didn't realize this. This was new to me. I went to the English Open last year.
Okay.
And everyone was like, people in England surf, and actually they're among the best surfers. They're the ones winning
Yeah.
the medals and everything. Yeah.
So tell us
So-
about your blindness. Has it have you always suffered with poor vision? Is it something that has sort of developed?
So I was born with retinitis pigmentosa. It's genetic. My brother has it as well. We got it from my dad. And it's a late onset one. So ours is dominant. So I only started losing my sight in my 30s. And I was still driving my children around. And at first, you don't really notice that you're losing your sight. You compensate so much.
Yes.
But then you start noticing things and you start tripping over things and you start bashing your head open and having accidents. And first you have to give up driving, and then like I started using a cane, which I use now. So it deteriorates and you lose your peripheral vision.
Okay.
So the retinal cells are dying. And then eventually you just have central vision. So I've got a tiny bit of central vision. So if I look at your face,
Yes.
if I just focus on your face,
Yes.
I can just see your eyes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
My yellow eyes.
Your yellow eyes, yeah. So I used to say, if I look at you like, I only have eyes for you, that used to be my like very lame chat up line when I was
Alright.
single for a while, yeah.
Okay. But no longer is it that line.
Yeah.
So when you gave us an example on the stage during the slide night, you actually gave us quite a really graphic idea as to how much you do see, and it was quite astounding, really, when you went from that really
Yeah.
big picture of a bunch of people in a room.
Yeah.
What Michelle did was actually
Yeah.
try and illustrate, just the percentage that you could see, right? And it was
Yeah.
it was really quite small.
Well, people watching can actually do an exercise. And I remember doing this myself and it was quite shocking. So I'm going to ask you if you've got enough space there to
Yes.
put let's make sure I miss my mic. Put your finger in
Yes.
front of your nose like that.
All right.
And then move it. Keep your eyes, be disciplined, keep your eyes in one place and move it. Move your finger until you can't see it anymore.
Keep my eyes in one place.
Yeah, but move your finger till you can't see it anymore. You're going to hit the
Okay.
boards, all right? You could go further than that, yeah.
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 Okay. So I can't see it there.
Yeah, but you could see it till pretty far.
Till there,
Till
yeah.
there. Okay, so I'm going to tell you when I lose mine. Okay. Okay, it's gone.
Wow.
That's it. And that's
it,
up and down as well, yeah.
Okay. So there's a little example
It's like
of
a pinhole, yeah.
wow. And so how has that been? Well, how have you overcome? Because you think of surfing, and you think of how visceral and it really is to feel the water, the wave, to see the wave, to read the lineup, to look
Yeah.
at the horizon. How have you adapted to be able to surf?
Adaptations have to be made, and that's where I can get frustrated. I think my biggest frustration is I can't go into the ocean whenever I want, so it reduces my training time to surf as much as I want to become a really good surfer. So I have to have someone in the ocean with me. I have to have a spotter,
Okay.
and that can be anybody. At the moment, I go in with my coach, but he's my coach. But I can go in with someone who's not my coach. It can pretty much be anyone who can just say, a wave's coming.
Okay. It's
Turn
literally
around.
that. A
Yeah,
wave is
start. I can't even see the wave coming that way. The most dangerous thing actually is other surfers,
Okay.
because I can easily go into another surfer, or another surfer could easily go into me if they think I'm sighted and they think I'm going to move out their way.
Yes.
So I do have a top that says blind surfer.
Okay.
So, and I do know there's some blind surfers who go into the water on their own with that. But then, the biggest hazard is other surfers. If there was no one else in the ocean, which is going to happen exactly never when there's good waves,
That's true.
then that would be fine. But
Yep.
yeah, so I need to have someone in the water to be like an audio, my eyes, basically, yeah.
For sure. And okay, and in terms of like learning to surf, what was and how long was that process for you?
The process for me was probably accelerated because
Okay.
I was so determined.
Yeah.
Like, as I said in the talk, I'd done quite a few challenges before, and I'll do any challenge as long as it raises awareness about disability and inspires people, especially women of my age to just try new things. So I'd done the fitness competition and everything. So as soon as I did surfing, I was like, can I compete? So I sort of went home, I went onto YouTube, I practiced my pop-ups. And then of course we couldn't surf because lockdown happened.
Yes, I remember.
We couldn't surf. So I had my surfboard, I put it on my bed, I practiced my pop-ups over and over and over and over again. I keep fit in between, you know. So I probably learned fairly quickly, really, and because I'm naturally quite sporty and doing something like judo, you get fairly good sort of inbuilt balance that's kind of hardwired into you,
Is that what you do? Is you do a bit of judo on the side to keep the muscle tones?
I used to do judo, so that was one of the competitions I did.
Got you.
I went back to the nationals, so I did it as a child, very keen then. And I have actually thought when I moved back to Lakeside, which I'm going to do, I'm thinking of joining the Fisher Club again, just to keep fit, not for competition.
Okay.
Although, I mean, there are older people the oldest person I saw in one of the veteran competitions was 73. So,
Wow.
I mean,
you're
No
a
reason
highly
not to.
motivated human being, and I wouldn't put it past you if you don't get pulled into one or two little competitions here or there.
And I always say no, never again, because you end up sore, and it is a game for the youngsters.
Yes.
You get on a mat with them in competition. It's a different game from, doing a bit of practice rounds. So.
What amazes me is that the length of time that it's taken you to become a competitive surfer, and I'm talking about your involvement in the Partga, what was it? What's the actual name of it?
Parasurfing. So it's the World Parasurfing Championships I just came back from.
When did that happen? When did the Para World Champions Surfing?
December 2022.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that was in Huntington Beach, wasn't it?
That was the year before. This
Okay.
year it was at Pismo Beach, just nearby.
Awesome.
Yeah, there were the most incredible surfers there. I mean, and that's what I realized on the world stage. And as the blind surfers, we're probably the smallest group.
Okay.
So in South Africa, I'm always put with the boys. So suddenly you're put with the other women there, and you realize they are very, very good.
Okay.
So I know within that category, I know the surfers. So it's been Melissa Reed who's won every single year.
Okay.
Except she had her crown knocked off her by a 13-year-old
Wow.
in December. And this, this girl, I mean, she's been surfing since she was 3 years old with her dad. Her dad's her coach, her spotter.
Wow. So forgive our ignorance here, but is it how it works? The blind surfers surf against each other in heats? And then the amputees and their own categories, right?
Yeah,
So
and those categories, because it's now it looks like it's going to be accepted as an Olympic sport, and it is. So it's going to be the Paralympics in 2028, and also the Olympic Federation, hope I've got this right, overlooks the World Parasurfing Championship. So the categories, it's a very long process to get the categories, and you have to be tested so you slot into that category. So sometimes you might be just not disabled enough or something. So yeah, you've got about, I can't remember exactly how many categories it is, but you've got the stand-up assisted, the prone assist, the prone unassist, and then in the visually impaired, it's unassisted.
Okay.
So you're not allowed to have your board. The coach is not allowed to touch your board. If they touch your board to help you to paddle out or anything, disqualified.
Okay.
In fact, I actually went into the pier in the paddle out because I did not see it, and my board snapped its tip off in my first heat. So it's.
And how did you cope with that? Just
I was
quick board swap?
freaking out. No, I was told to just carry on. I could see this thing was just breaking more and more, and I could feel it. It felt as though it unbalanced my board. That could have been psychosomatic, but I finished the heat, and I also thought, if I fall off, this thing's sharp, but I just carried on. But it put me in a very funky space because there were two things I was scared of for the World Surf Championships. It was the pier, because I saw the pier, and I know that one of the VI people went into the Pier the year before. So I was scared of going to the Pier, and I was scared of using a different board.
Okay.
And of course, I had to then borrow a board for the next heat
Got you.
that I was not used to. It was,
Yeah, it's...
And I just got my Hurricane board then. I just got it. So
it really tested you, I'm sure, hey?
it did in many ways. And it also made me realize, that whole thing of surrender and acceptance. And, like I realized that even in the second heat, I was out of the heats by then. And I knew I hadn't performed as well as I could, as well as I was capable of.
Yes.
But I also knew that, I was still there for my team, and that I could support the rest of the team who'd made it to the finals.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
And
So-
South Africa did so well, let me tell you. We
Really?
came fifth. We
Wow.
came fifth out of almost 30 countries.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a really good result, eh?
We did so well. Our little, under-resourced, sharing our coaches,
Cool. There must be a really nice vibe within the South African team.
We were the team. We had, everyone said we were you can hear the South Africans around because we were the loudest team. We were the team who cheered. We had this sort of tunnel that you went through. In fact, everyone else started going through our tunnel, the Japanese wanted to go through our tunnel to be cheered. And
Very cool. That's nice. You brought the gears.
we bought the gears. So
Yeah, that's it.
we ran from the Pier to the beach, back to the Pier again, every time a competitor
That's so cool.
finished. Yeah.
That must have been a pretty proud and special moment for you to actually have attended.
It
And I-
really was. It really was. I'll just do better next time. Next time I'll be more prepared.
And what about the Olympics?
The Paralympics.
Yes. Are you going to go for it?
Yeah, 2028. So surfing's already been accepted by the Olympics, but it's a whole process as well. But it looks like it's really going to happen. So I'll be 60. So I'll do it for my 60th, and I'll probably retire from competition then.
After doing the Olympics.
After doing the Paralympics.
That's
yeah.
amazing. Well, I'm excited to see you in the Olympics. It's going to be so cool to,
Yeah.
well, the whole South African team really in the Olympics.
I mean, I was just thinking I'll be old by then, but at the same time, I'll have, 8 years experience behind me as opposed to 2,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think those moments of being tested with your board, breaking and the
Yeah,
Pier, and
yeah.
it's going to stand you in good stead because I
Yeah.
think, as you know, one has to. A calm sea never made a good sailor, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, and also you just have to, it teaches you real lessons, these seeming failures,
Yes.
and really how to rewire your mindset, because I was in such a rubbish mood, let me tell you. I was
Really?
I don't even know why I came,
I've come all this way.
Come all this way,
I've
and
traveled
now I'm
so
out.
far,
I'm so
and
rubbish.
Yeah.
I'm such a rubbish surfer. I should never have been here in the first place.
Yeah.
I've disgraced my family, my team, my village, my,
Wrangling with all the
country.
the negative
exactly,
thoughts that
exactly.
your mind could throw at you.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, eh? And these are the moments that you don't even think of when you're getting on that plane, when you're going, when all that excitement to get there, and then when you're in the
Exactly.
moment and these variables that you weren't sort of
Yeah.
you didn't even calculate were getting
Yeah.
thrown at you, then you're grappling with a whole new set of challenges.
Yeah.
And it's not even surfing; it's just your own.
It's what
own
goes
mind.
on in your head. Yeah. Look, these things are so important to do because I was excited, but I was also crazy nervous before the competition. I can't even begin to tell you. I think and this is where my coaches, Roxy Davis, who runs the school, Tasha, and also Mark, who I see now, just had to talk me out of, they said it's my negativity that can hold me back more than anything, that I was scared of looking embarrassing. That was my biggest fear, of looking of embarrassing myself by being a rubbish
Really?
surfer on such a big world stage. I was obsessively watching, people like Melissa Reed. Up until then, I'd been just focusing on the longest ride because I thought that was my aim. And then suddenly they're shredding the waves and doing fancy turns and bottom turns and everything, even though they're blind. And I'm like, wait, they're doing all that. I'm going to look so stupid.
Yeah.
But I didn't need to worry about all that. It was so much time wasted in my head.
That's amazing. And so, what's next, Michelle?
Because there's quite a few things I want to do this year. A lot of it is to do with actually raising money to to go overseas because we don't get the finances. We do our own fundraising as individuals.
Okay.
So one of the things I did is I painted a surfboard.
Okay.
And I sold that at an auction that we held at Hudson's.
Fantastic.
That was, that one that you saw?
Yes.
That was Nikki Miller. She allowed me to paint her image. She's a really well-known longboarder.
Awesome.
So I painted her as a mermaid. So I'd like to do more of those and sell them. But next time I'd actually like to get a board shaper to let me paint it before it gets glass. Because this one I did from a old board that can never be used again, purely as art. But I'd like to do a couple. It takes a very long time, as you can imagine, being blind. So it's another of my challenges. So I'd like to do a couple that can be surfed. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so
And-
let's talk
yeah.
about that. I mean, to be able to attend these events, to be able to get to these far-flung destinations, it requires funding.
Yes.
And how do you have to fund yourself? Do you have sponsors that help you? How would one go about, do you have a backer buddy? How would we go about supporting yourself or the national team?
Yeah, so money can go into the national team. So as athletes, we're tasked to raise our own money personally.
Okay.
But then money was also raised through the Roxy Davis Foundation. So when I decided to paint a surfboard and auction that, I just thought, well, maybe we can do something for the whole team. And I approached Hudson's and it just kind of grew from there. So they had an auction where a lot of people put different things in, and that money went to the team. My own board went to myself because I painted that and organized that myself.
Okay.
But then as individuals, we have to raise that money ourselves, and it's a lot of money to raise. So obviously the ideal is to have a sponsor,
Yes.
and someone that really feels you're of value to them, and that you can really showcase their brand. And that's where I say, I think that brands should be looking at older women, because older women athletes appeal to women who have basically their kids are grown up, their kids are out of university, they're looking to do stuff that's exciting, and they now have money to spend on themselves rather than their children. So it's a
Got
big
you.
market now,
Yeah.
And also, if you look at Instagram, there's so much fit over 50, sexy over 50, 40 and fabulous. There's a lot of those hashtags going around.
Yes. But yeah, this is a live working surf shop. There's people literally, and it's a public holiday. There's people buying surfboards behind us.
And the waves are good. So
And the waves
I've
are
never
good.
seen it so busy in these different shops today. Yeah.
You have just come back from a surf.
Yeah.
So she's fully frothed, Michelle. I didn't get to surf this morning. I'm a little bit jelly.
I
to
wasn't
be fair.
smiling like this before the surf, let me tell you.
They seem to have moved off. Yeah. So carry on with the whole funding side.
Okay, so the way I funded myself personally, it actually took almost 2 years,
Okay.
to be honest. So I had a backer buddy fund, and I had some very generous donors. And
Got
my
you.
promise to them was to post stories all the way,
Okay.
on social media
Yes.
and everything, and to share it, share the journey with them. And then I painted a surfboard, and I would like to do more of that. And I auctioned that off, and that helped me raise money. And some of the talks I've done have actually been paid talks.
Okay.
And a couple of the magazine articles I've written, like for Fair Lady, because I'm a writer as well. That's one of the things I
Oh,
do.
fantastic.
But it's just time consuming, and sometimes it just feels like such a hustle,
Yes.
And yeah, so my ideal would be to be represented by a brand that sees my value, that realizes that I speak well, I write well, I can just make them look absolutely fabulous
Well, there we
through
go.
my fabulosity.
Michelle's fabulosity. If you want to support and get involved in Michelle's journey, as I've said, all her links are down below. You're going to be able to contact her. Just slide into her DMs and say, we want to be a part of your journey, because it's a worthy thing to be able to track, someone's passion for the love of the ocean. And I don't want to sound cliche and say things like inspiration on that. This is not what this is about. This is about like helping athletes that want to represent South Africa at the Olympics. And we can't rely on the surf industry to be able to do that for us necessarily.
No.
We need to. Yes, I mean we still have a lot of support from the surf industry, but we need to look beyond that.
Yeah.
And involve any other brand that would like to get involved.
Oh, completely. Because I'm not just about surfing, as you've seen.
Yes.
I can do. I've done judo. And if anyone throws any challenge at me and says, "Oh, actually, skateboarding or
You're
anything,"
game.
I'm game for it. Learn a whole hip hop like routine and do a somersault backwards while I do it. I'm game to learn that. So
awesome. So that's going to be your next. It's 2028. That's going to be your next 5-year journey, right?
yeah, and within that time, I'm happy
Yes.
to do anything. Yeah.
Within
the
reason.
the surfing is going to within safety, sort of. Yes.
Yeah. And any other games coming up before that would also require overseas travel, like the World Paragon? Is that happening
The
before?
World Para Surfing Championship is coming up.
Okay.
And you get people who do the world all over. So they're like,
Yes.
"Hey, are you coming to America? Are you coming to Hawaii, etc." So at this point, I can't do all the things. So I'm just focusing on the world. And we've got the nationals here in Cape Town this year.
Wow. When is that? The
That
date?
is on the, I think it's I'll get those dates exactly. I think it's on the 22nd of April is the Western Province. And then it is, I think, the last weekend of May.
So it's Worlds,
June.
eh?
No, that's the nationals.
Nationals,
Nationals
okay.
is usually in Durban.
Oh, right.
So us
okay.
Cape Townians have to travel to Durban.
To Durban.
This year, the Parasurfing Nationals are here in Cape Town.
You're in Cape Town at Surfers Corner.
At Surface Corner, yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is where you want to be if you want to be
Yeah.
involved.
And if anyone wants to help volunteer, we need the volunteers
Awesome.
to help get people in and out the water and you don't have to be able to surf.
Amazing.
You just need to love being with people, and
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's about all. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
I really appreciate all your time, and it's amazing to be able to have sat down with you in this busy, noisy surf shop on a public holiday.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's so fun to have met you, because I've also been following you on Insta. So I can see that you can actually be insanely funny, because the surfing industry can be really silly sometimes.